Survivorship bias. During World War II, Navy researchers conducted a study on the damage done to aircraft by enemy fire that had returned from missions. They concluded and recommended that armor needed to be added to these areas with the most damage. At first, this seems like the most reasonable course of action. We need to place more armor where the planes are getting hit the most. However, a mathematician by the name of Abraham Wald was quick to point out an error the researchers had made. They were researching data only from the planes that had survived their missions, and the bombers that had been shot down were not included at all. Wald proposed they change their initial decision and do the opposite. Armor the areas where the surviving planes had not been hit, as these were in fact the areas that were causing fatal damage to the other bomber planes that had not survived. Survivorship bias is a logical error where the data that we are presented with is representative of only a subset of the population that has already survived some kind of filtering process. More simply, we tend to focus on the things that survived the process and overlook ones that failed. People may say things like they made much stronger and more beautiful buildings in this time and age, ignoring that this is one of the only buildings to have survived for so long, and that 99% of the buildings of that time and age were probably flimsy and ugly, but are now completely invisible to us. Here is another example. You move to a new town, you see many successful restaurants in the area, and you come to the conclusion that if all these restaurants are successful, you could very well do the same. But what is invisible to you are all the restaurants that failed in the years prior. When you are only focusing on the winners, survivorship bias causes you to underestimate the challenge and overestimate your chances of success. Everywhere you look, there are successful actors and actresses. In reality, your chances are a fraction above zero of becoming successful. But no one is interested in all the failures, so the burial ground of all the failures is largely invisible to you. Society and the media only focuses on the winners. Try Googling actors that never made it, or people who failed in life after dropping out of college, and you won't have much luck finding anything useful. For every rock star, there are thousands of people in the cemetery of failure who never made it. For every startup business, there are thousands of failed startups. Everyone should chase their dreams, but don't let survivorship bias trick you into thinking the challenge is easier than it seems. Be careful of your overly optimistic beliefs that are caused by invisible failures.